Hey everybody, how's it going? It is the Fantasy Rugby Yanks podcast. My name's Jared Dyke.
I'm Ben Glauser.
And we are back to our regularly scheduled program for just this week, unfortunately. Broadcasting from outside, just outside Boston, Massachusetts. And we're back at our old digs and back in our old environment. And there's plenty to talk about.
Home field advantage.
I wish.
Yeah.
So loads to talk about. Lots of fun stuff coming up this week. Tasty matchups all around between Super Rugby and obviously Champions Cup quarterfinals coming up, and we had some great stuff this past weekend. I think you watched more than me this weekend.
That's a shocker.
That's an accomplishment right there because I do everything I can.
Right.
But
you were also traveling. Going back to up the Great White North.
Yeah. Well,
to visit the wall.
Yeah. Well, it's Miss Sharon's birthday
Oh.
Actually today.
Really?
Actually today.
Oh man, I'll have to wish her a birthday.
She is
Happy birthday, Sharon.
Yeah, I think she listens. So I won't say her age. I'll be nice. I won't say her age. 60. How about we drink some beer and hope that it's not shaking up too much.
Nice.
We're good. Okay.
These Boston roads didn't destroy it.
Well done. Everybody, make sure you check us out on Google Play, Spotify, iTunes. Review, rate us, download, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell your friends. And you can send us an email if you want, and I'll give the email at the end of the show. I promised we would read our recent review, and people are nice to us, apparently.
What the hell's wrong with all of you?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Or what's wrong with us?
How long do we have?
Yeah.
Says from Main Mags, favorite podcast, funny guys who know what they're talking about. If you're a fan of rugby, it's a must listen.
That's nice.
That's far too nice for our fans, but
seriously,
know
what we're talking about. That's that's a lot to live up to. There,
you've seen me get more into spats out in the social media universe, but we watched a fun one together this week about the hit that Jacques Berger posted,
right?
And
it was a scary fucking hit.
It was. That
did not look good.
No,
but at the same time, the reaction to it, or the overreaction to it, was something else. And then was it Maul Over Rugby started chirping at somebody, telling them they shouldn't have played, like all this stuff. Like, come on,
calm down.
I think one of the reasons that at least I do enjoy listening to this pod on my own too, even though I'm obviously here while
biased.
Right, I'm a little biased too.
Yep.
But we don't have, at least I don't feel like we give these like hot takes and we're trying to get we're not trying to rile people up or anything like that. We're just two guys having a beer talking about rugby with a little bit of a fantasy angle to it.
Say with a little pretend rugby mixed in there.
Right. But these guys, they get so up their own asses about, this is, fuck. Like, you need to have an opinion and a strong opinion about everything. Yeah, that was a scary hit.
It was. But
the guy, as long as everybody's okay, and it appeared that the guy who got rolled over, like, on his, if you haven't seen it, right after, it wasn't a late hit. It was perfectly legal. Just a big hit, and a guy kind of lands on his own head as he's rolling himself over in the tackle. It looked ugly, looked scary, but as long as everybody gets up and walks away, it's just one of these like, wow, that was an awesome
generally
hit.
A wow hit.
Can't we just say that was fucking awesome, and hopefully we never see anything like that again, so that nobody does get hurt.
Yes,
but let's appreciate it for what it is, rather than start yelling at everyone about it.
I mean, I think most people got into the sport partly because the violence, and people like violence, people like carnage. I got into it because I was seeing some big shots, and I was just like, and they don't have pads, so that tells me these guys might have some bigger bollocks than some other people. So I like these guys. Let's watch.
Yeah, and you see that a lot with the in America anyway, with the converted football players. They're always going for a big hit at the beginning of their career.
Yeah, then they realize maybe this is not a good idea.
Right, you can't keep that up for 80 minutes.
No.
So
wear yourself out.
Kind of, I had a guy who was I coached him for a year because I was injured down in Philly. He was he'd been a middle linebacker for Harvard.
Okay.
And everybody was like gushing over him when I came back to my old club, and because he was a unit playing in the centers, he lit somebody up and kind of fucked his shoulder up a little bit. And he's like, "Yeah, I got to come out." I'm like, okay, that's fine.
You know that you can't go back in.
He didn't know.
Oh,
and later in the match, he's like, "Hey, can I go back in?" And it's like, "No, dude. Like, this isn't. We told you this is how it works."
You're out. You're out.
Yeah.
You're off. You're off. You know, like, you can take a minute and kind of readjust yourself on the field. But if
you don't get like 20, 30 minutes. So guys got to kind of measure themselves a little bit. And yeah, you get the big hit every so often, but that's all based on positioning more than I'm just going to run right through this asshole because he sees me coming. Like I love those big hits. Everyone does. But there's a reason that they don't happen every fucking play.
No. Yeah. Use your brains, kids.
Yeah.
It works, I promise. All right. Let's talk about the Prem. That was a fun weekend. There's some movement going on here.
Real good rugby going on. And some movement on the table.
Yeah.
We have a challenger appears for relegation that I'm not going to hide my happiness about. So.
Didn't somebody say something about them getting into a relegation fight possibly last week?
I don't recall. No,
just checking. Checking.
Which obviously means that Jared said it and I didn't because I don't recall it. So yeah, well done.
They lost. Worcester and Newcastle both
won.
Come out victorious, and now all of a sudden it gets real fun at the bottom of the table.
Now we're looking at
because Bristol lost too. They lost to that. They lost in that. So let's just get right into it. Obviously Leicester lost Friday night. You watched the game. I didn't end up getting I was coaching the kiddos. Saints 29, Leicester 15.
So I went back and found a screenshot from the match. It was right around the where was it? The 34th minute. Mm-hmm. I have it at 34:28. For those of you who still have access to the match, this was right after the Saints. I think their second try with the yellow card was on. So it was the first try on the yellow card.
Okay. And
they're showing they called it the playmaker balance. Now, I've never seen a broadcast show something like this before, so I immediately got a little bit of a rugby chubby.
Yeah, I've seen them do it. It's a really cool chart to see,
and it's rare, at least. So
yes, it probably is. You're probably right.
This is something that I think needs to be focused on a lot more often. And now I'm putting my coaching hat on when I'm saying that because this matters to me. Watching good rugby, which is they're showing the how teams are attacking, whether it's off the 9, off the 10, or even off the 12.
Out wide, yep.
And what they showed here is right around this time, Leicester was 61% off the 9 and 31% off the 10, only 8% off the 12.
Not much going wide.
You're looking at 92% are either 1 or 2 passes off, from the breakdown. How easy is that to defend?
I mean, you keep most of your fatties in tight anyway, so
right.
There you go.
So that's really all they're trying to do. There's no wonder they have 3 points at the time and a card. Whereas you look at the Saints, and they have 43% off the 9, 30% off the 10, and 27% off the 12. Now, that's a nice, even balance.
Yeah.
Of course, it's going to be heavier off the 9, but that's...
It's easier to get one pass away, obviously.
Right. But then you're getting, close to a third of your plays, of your phases are off your 12. Like, you're doing something right. I saw a comment on... That's
probably got Chris Boyd's fingerprints in it a little bit. Hurricanes were good at that.
Yeah. And that's what's needed in Northern Hemisphere rugby. Mm-hmm. I saw a comment the other day on some other rugby Twitter feed where somebody said, "Oh, you got to earn the right to go wide." And
that's an old thing.
That's like 15 years old.
Yeah, that's an old thing.
You look at the way the Saints played, and it was basically like 15-meter line to 15-meter line. They're attacking that width.
Yep.
And not over phases. I'm saying like they start at one 15-meter line, then they're making the tackle contest at the other 15-meter line. So like they're using the width of the pitch in open play. They're not going all the way wide. They're not, trying to go sideline to sideline, but certainly
that's the difference.
Width to width,
I think, right there.
Right.
That you just said, getting to when you're so ill-disciplined that you just want to swing everything to the 5-meter line on either side of the field. It's that's asking for it. That's easy stuff. You
Yeah.
know, it really is, because you get somebody close to that 5-meter line and you get a big burly dude to shove him into touch, and oops, you lose the ball.
Right.
You know?
Or that ball is slow to get out, and you get somebody running the other way with it.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Which
Please
nobody
no.
wants to see. But when you're attacking with that in that center channel constantly, rather than just the 10 channel, you attack a little bit wider than that, and suddenly there's space because everybody's going to be concentrated right around that first 5 or 6 defenders.
Right.
Get out wider than that, and there's a lot more room.
There's space. Yes.
And that's really the story of the Saints win.
Well, you want space for Collins, Hutchinson, Nayarvoro, some of the loosier guys like God, why am I blanking on his name? Brissot.
Yeah.
Tamana Harrison in the loose is probably something that's kind of scary for somebody a little bit smaller to see and go, oh no. Yeah, you want that stuff. Who? Correct me if I'm wrong. Was Ben Youngs not supposed to start this match, or was he definitely not supposed to start it? I thought he was in the lineup.
I don't recall.
I thought he was in the lineup, but I could be losing my mind completely.
I have it on my other computer. So not that I was doing it at work.
Lies. Shit. Yeah. See, I thought he was supposed to start, but I could be wrong. Harrison steps in obviously and does what he can, but only so much to be done. Saints go marching in, and Saints are working on the top 6 spot at least, and try and get back into Champions Cup. Standouts. Just looking at this, I had a couple of blunders in my own fantasy team. Alex Moon was not a blunder.
No.
45.
No.
Thank you, and he's cheap as hell.
Yeah.
He is. He's a Will Rollins type. He's He's under 200.
Okay.
And he's scoring points fistfuls.
So he's one to keep your eye on. There.
Yep. Especially while Laws is still trying to recover.
Yeah.
Once Laws comes back, it's going to be kind of risky because they'll rotate. They're likely to rotate between Moon and Ratanawa and Laws.
Yeah.
With obviously Laws getting a good bit of the run. But yeah, so look good to me. I got my green light right. Rory Hutchinson, 35.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
He had a good match. Pretty much all the backs. Obviously, you can go down the list. Had a great match.
Yeah, clearly, almost most of the back line had some sort of contribution. Bigger, obviously, with the biggest bet point week of the week. Bigger with 60. Yeah. Shoo!
And I'd like to thank Bryce Heem for having to withdraw at the last minute because I had Collins on my bench. And thank you to the Rugby Magazine because they're wise enough to if your player gets last minute after you've already set the lineups, they will sub the substitute in for that player. Yep. So I got Collins at 51 rather than at 25. So thank you.
That'll do.
That'll do.
There you go. Awesome. The battle at the bottom, the other battle at the bottom. There's going to be a couple of battles at the bottom as we go through the rest of the season here. Worcester, eke it out. Josh Adams, the Grand Slam hero, now Worcester hero, sneaking one over. I didn't catch a whole lot of this match, but from the stuff I saw, it looked like this thing was wild.
Yeah, no, this one I also did not get a chance to watch. So.
Again, another one that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Thacker was supposed to be starting, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Because I put him in my lineup, and apparently he came off the bench.
Oh.
I don't know if he had...
Yeah, no, he was definitely supposed to be starting because I have him and McGuigan.
Wow.
And so I was going to...
So something must have happened.
I was going to start... The one of them was going to start. I decided not to put Thacker out at flank. I kept him at hook. So yeah, he definitely was supposed to start.
Well, he did fine, 26.
Yeah.
So unless Rugby Max just got this thing a little screwy, but which is, computer glitches happen, so that's okay.
Who is it who had 100 points that prop?
Oh, yeah. Was it? I think it was Callum Black.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, nope.
I don't think that's accurate.
So, again, probably another, little hiccup. But Worcester pick up the win, 27-25, and
big
are
win.
Certainly trying to fight like hell to avoid the drop.
Yeah.
And this thing ain't over.
No.
That's for sure. Bristol play their skins off, but again, come up just a little bit short, and maybe showing that lack of experience in this situation. We'll see what happens. I like to think that they have the ammo in the tank to to fight it off because they do have
depends
some,
on their schedule the rest of the way out.
Yeah, they have some amazing players. So we'll see.
They do.
We'll see if they can rely on them to hold them out. They have some salty veterans that can guide them away from this. I think they have enough quality to stay up. I don't think they're quite in that drop zone conversation yet, but they're getting there.
I mean, remaining they have Bath away.
Okay, that won't be easy.
Saracens at home.
Ugh.
Leicester away.
Might be that'll be a big one actually. That could be a really big one.
It could be.
That could be a really big one.
Sale at home, and then away at Newcastle to end the season. That's
that could turn into a real
stretch.
tasty one.
So they got some work to do.
They got to find ways to pick up points. Just
Yeah.
pick up points, bonus points, and whether it's try bonus or losing bonus point. Obviously, wins when you can, but you have to find ways to pick up points, and that's what the experience does in this situation. So we'll see what happens.
And I'm heading over to Worcester now to see what they're.
They have a rough one. I don't remember what it is exactly, but I remember having my eyes bug out.
Is there really an easy road to hoe on this late in the season? I mean,
I think Newcastle's is somewhat easy.
Yeah, it's possible. But so Worcester are away at Wasps, home against Sale,
Okay.
home against Gloucester,
Ooh.
yeah, away against the Saints,
Oof.
and then home against the Sarries to close it out.
Oh man,
that's a
rough.
That
one.
is a rough.
They might
way
get a
to
gift depending on what the Saracen situation is.
Right.
Because
I mean,
Exeter, we'll talk about that.
The Sarries' second side,
it's still pretty darn good.
It's still pretty darn good, and almost had rocked up against the Saints to starters.
Yeah.
In the Prem Cup final. So
right.
So the Sarries, even if they start their backups,
we'll see.
That's not an easy.
It's not an easy out.
task.
No, it's not an easy out. So we'll see. We'll see what that situation presents. Come the end of the season here. Your side piece against Wasp, and it looked like for a little while it looked like Gloucester were going to get all the territory, but no pay dirt.
Right.
And I was like, oh boy, is this gonna if they don't get pay dirt soon and get what's due to them and get some points here, because they really were controlling the match, even though Wasp were ahead for a brief period. About 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, they were 11 up 11. They were up 11-0.
Yeah,
fairly early, and like you said, kind of not quite controlling the match, but certainly controlling the scoreboard.
Yeah, no, I'd say Gloucester were in control of the match, but somehow we're finding ways to give away points. Yeah. So I was like, this could get really bad. Like if all of a sudden Wasper, yeah, cross the two of them together. If Wasp all of a sudden figure out how to get back in this match in terms of territory and possession, Gloucester would have been in trouble.
Yeah,
but they righted the ship. Cipriani and Hines obviously got him.
That tip pass. Did you at least see the tip pass?
Yeah.
Holy
I watched.
fuck.
I did watch this match.
Okay.
This was a humdinger for a little while.
Yeah, that one and the little chip through. The
one that was on the fly. You mean?
Yeah. It's just,
yeah, that was
dirty.
That was
dirty. What pictures does he have of Eddie Jones?
I don't know. Or what was Eddie Jones have of him?
Yeah.
Or what did he do to Eddie Jones?
Right. Who did he wrong?
Right. Well, it was talked about. Eddie Jones is kind of Cipriani's the personality that'll challenge somebody like Eddie Jones, and Eddie Jones doesn't want that. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Right.
That's just how it's running. Hines, did you start him?
Yes. Did I? Yeah, I did.
That contributed to your week.
That very much so.
Just a bit.
Yeah, having three guys in the 50-point range kind of works.
Where'd you land overall on the game week overall?
Game week overall, I was... Wait, what the fuck just happened?
Get back here.
Yeah. Overall, I was 137. So
Okay.
not
not
great.
that high, but
not the
you
worst.
certainly weren't bottom.
No.
So Gloucester take care of business, 27-14, inching themselves ever so close to that playoff berth, semifinal. We'll see which one they end up with in terms of 3 or 4, and they could, in theory, still chase down the Saracens. We'll see what happens with that. But they are certainly looking every bit the part of a semifinalist at the very least. Oh boy. I had my blood pressure jump a few beats, and like you said, I was in the Great White North.
Yeah.
And Mama D was around, and she was like, "Jesus, you're worse than when you lived here." I'm like, "Yeah, Ma." I'm like, I'm 12 years older.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. You know?
Well, yeah, and we were talking, texting during the match, and
Right.
and I don't remember how early on it was. You're like, I'm so done with this game already.
Yeah, I was done with JP.
It was JP, yeah, he's no better than a whistling frog. He's an honorary whistling frog.
He's had better ones before. I think so 3 things in my mind stand out from his errors, and it's the 2 disallowed tries. The Billy disallowed try, I was like, listen, I'm sorry. Billy Vunipola is not getting stopped on that line. You have to consider that. I understand letter of the law, fine. But, come on. Can we actually officiate like human beings and not robots?
Yeah.
Please?
Like, use some critical thinking.
Yes. So. Shit. Look what you did to me. But, yeah. Billy V's not getting stopped. But did you see his... It was either a tweet or an Instagram quote. Vinprop Limited, Ltd. Because obviously people have been shitting all over the Saracens for their salary cap issues. And that's the name of his company that he's made with Nigel Ray.
Okay.
And obviously just a big thumb in the eye to everybody else that's poo-pooing on them. And really, the people that, off track here, the people that wrote that article, they're actually kind of getting a little egg on their face right now because a lot of the Saracens' former players are coming to their defense, and even some players that aren't Saracens players are saying, "Yeah, I would love a club to take care of me the way Nigel Ray takes care of his players."
Right. I'm looking at that, and I'm like, why aren't NFL? And you kind of do see it now. There's a lot of NFL players who are getting summer internships and working at different companies and learning what to do past their playing years, and it's great. It is. It's pushing the envelope of the spirit of the cap, but at the same time, these guys are young. They're not going to be doing this for more than 10 years, and most of them aren't even going to do it for that long.
We jokingly call people old men when they're in this game at 33. That's not an old man.
No,
it's an old man for an athlete, but it's not an old man for real life. They need to do something else after this, and
if you're going to prepare them for it, that's all the better. I mean, shit, most football coaches don't even prepare the players to play the game, let alone live in the world outside the game, and let alone prepare them for after the game. I mean, how many football players end up broke and
on the street and penniless,
selling their championship rings?
Yeah.
So
pretty awful.
So teams should be doing that.
Yep,
anyway, sorry for the digression.
It was worth the point. Yeah. So, and then the disallowed try for Kerr and Sanjay getting into it, letter of the law, but bullshit. Just let the play wasn't even anywhere near.
Right.
Let it go. And I'm sorry, Danny Kerr was being a little prick. And they both kind of were, to be fair.
So, but at the same time, you show one the yellow, you show the other the yellow, and then you're done.
Award the try, be done.
You award the try, and you say, we're going to play on. These guys were just being pricks after the whistle, so there's no penalty. Don't do the whole, we're going to restart with the penalty, this and then this. No, just say, try scored. This had nothing to do with the try being scored. It was just 2 guys being jerks, being dicks. Yep. Award the fucking try.
Yeah, should have been awarded. Anyway, and yes, and they talked about it on the broadcast. Letter of the law, yes, but that was just dumb.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that stood out in my head was the penalty that he awarded Quins when Saracens were on the 5, and I think it was Rob Shaw was basically laying on top of the ruck.
Yeah.
With his feet up in the air.
Right.
And saying that I was like, his feet are in the air.
Right.
He's not on his feet. You can't award him a penalty if his feet are in the air.
Look, we talk about Mario doing that a lot. We're just reaching right over the ruck, but he's
got the long
on his
arms.
feet, and he's got and not that Rob Shaw is a small human being, but his feet were off the ground. So that's
kind of the difference.
Right. And Doyle was staring right at it, and just let's show some fucking common sense.
Yeah. So, and again, so let's talk about this because I was going to bring up before, but so all right, Glenn Jackson, who is the Kiwi ref,
I like
and
him.
JP Doyle.
I don't like him.
2 of the best referees in the world, arguably, and neither one of them could figure out how to referee the scrum. Yeah. Referees in this whole thing are still guessing, which is frustrating. And I don't
see
what are they teaching them.
So what I see, and I'm also a young referee who would love this kind of help, is if I'm refereeing a scrum, especially at that level, I'm relying on my assistant referees to look at those look at this prop battle, look at that prop battle, and maybe I'd be because the scrum halves might be in the way, so I would look at the ones that are closer to the scrum halves. But a little bit of help from them. Show if somebody's going down, tell me who went down for. Like, give me a little bit. Don't just say, "Oh, I didn't." Like they'll go right to the arm.
And some of them do, but
some of them do, and some of them will let it play out a little bit and then say, "Okay, no, that was a penalty. All right, we'll go back to that." That to me is appropriate refereeing. If you don't know what happened, don't call a penalty. Either reset it or just play on.
Yeah, I like the play on option if possible.
Like, okay, it went down. And that was one of the big things that I loved about the referee course that I took was, you don't just say, okay, did this happen? You say, did it actually impact play? Mm-hmm. And scrums, I really do hate the going for the scrum penalty that seems to be prevalent, especially in the Premiership. You get a scrum, you're looking for a penalty. No. I get a scrum. This is my chance to play, 7-on-7.
Yes.
Like, why would I not do that? And really, 6-on-6. You take the scrum halves,
take the scrummies
out of it. You can do a lot of work in that. Why would you say, you know what, I want a penalty, and then we'll kick and maybe have a shitty line out?
Yeah, like, you want to put people to sleep. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, play the game.
Yep.
I love the way the one thing I'm loving about watching the Southern Hemisphere rugby is the scrum is just the way to restart the game. It's not there's not a tactical we're going for a penalty here. It's just get it in, get it out, and play the fucking game.
Yeah.
And as a prop, I would very much appreciate that because I don't really want to keep scrumming down.
Yeah.
Because what's the worst is when you have the scrum penalty. Okay. All right. Oh, we're gonna scrum again. Great. We scrum again. Oh no, it's scrum penalty. And it's like just fucking get on with it. Yeah. I want to play rugby.
Work hard to get on with it.
I do enjoy the scrum. Don't get me wrong, but for what it is, not for doing it for 20 straight minutes.
Right. No, I agree.
But you're right. The referees need to be better about managing it. And if a team is just asking for a penalty, that doesn't mean you have to give it.
No, by no means. We'll highlight a few things and we'll move on. Marcus Smith rose to the occasion for the Quins, though. It has to be said. He was ready to move. He was ready to move that ball. He was ready to take possession of the ball when he saw that it needed to be done. He's a very young emerging fly half. The kid has loads of potential, and any other match other than a Saracens match, I love watching the guy play. Other than that, and he's very good. I think the Quins need to be very happy that they have him in one pocket and then Lang in the other, who's got some experience to be able to guide the team when experience is required. But when you need some flair, you need some fire, you need some get-go, Marcus Smith's got it, and he looks pretty good. Certainly a white shirt is probably waiting for him at some point in his career, I'd say.
It could.
I think he's young enough that he'll be able to surpass the stalwarts that are there now and be able to
piss off the coach.
Yeah, well, luckily he won't have to deal with Eddie Jones after this year.
So.
And no, Eddie Jones called him into one of the camps, so he's at least given him a consideration already, so that's a good thing for him. And then the Saracens locks were on fire, and neither one of them were named Itoje or Cruz.
No,
that's the bad news for the rest of the league.
Right. Well, not so much because Big Willie Style is he'll be leaving after this year.
Right, but still, he was crushing people.
Yeah, he was, and he had the brace. So
yep, big fella.
He's
that's a train coming through too on some of those angles. I'm like, good luck.
If Czech is sticking around after the World Cup, which I guess he's not, whoever Australia's next coach is for the next cycle needs to get down on their knees and thank Saris for
getting him back into shape.
Getting him getting him into shape.
Yeah. He was kind of a large load.
Yeah, he was always a big load, but now
he got himself fit with a little help from the nutritionist too, so that helps.
Hey.
And Sequay stealing lineouts like it was candy.
Yeah. Speaking of a white shirt in their future.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got a couple of caps.
Right. But I mean,
he should. Yeah, no, I know Eddie Jones has kind of tossed him aside, but the next guy that's coming through will certainly needs to take a hard look at Nick Sequay and maybe be like, I think he might have got this wrong.
Yeah.
So Saracens win 27-20, and they stay number 2 and keep that home semifinal for the Premiership alive, and obviously get some momentum going into their big match this weekend. And another big one this past weekend, Newcastle and Sale. And I think we both picked Sale, but I couldn't help but root for Newcastle while they're, especially wearing those jerseys, those kits.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody has one of those kits available, I would love one. Just send me a message on Twitter or something, because those between the stripes of obviously the tune, the Newcastle United club that they because they were playing at St. James Park, and then the
Duddy Weir,
the Duddy Weir, the shoulders. Those were magnificent jerseys. Well done, Newcastle, for putting out some awesome looking kits. Nodding to both obviously where they were playing, but also to some of their heritage and some of their some of their greats, such as Duddy Weir, obviously. But to the game, Nicky Gunova came back. Didn't score a lot, but it was nice to see him back, and I'm sure it helped their back line to be able to be like, okay, we don't have just Sanati, who had a hell of a game. Had a hell of a game.
Not like you need much more than that.
You didn't need much more than that. But, just to have to respect Nicky Gunova on the other side of it, people are just like, shit, this is back, isn't it? And obviously, Gunova was a huge help to them getting to the semifinal last year. I'm sure he'll be a big help to them guiding them away from relegation. They still sit in last, but man, this is now anybody's fight.
Yeah,
it really is.
I enjoyed watching Takalua too. He's growing on me as a 9.
I seem to recall saying something about liking Takalua better than Mickey Young.
I don't remember. I'll have to review the tape.
Looks like Dean Richards has agreed with me and gone Takalua. I think Mickey Young is actually hurt, but he's going to probably be on the bench.
You can't. No,
you can't bench Takalua right now.
No, you can't.
Good luck. Say it. Let's talk about. Did you see if anything came out of the Rob Webber, Callum Green incident, the bite?
No, I haven't seen anything.
I haven't seen anything myself.
It
nothing
didn't look
obvious.
like a bite. It looked like fucking
Rob Webber trying to choke out Callum Green.
Right, and got his mouth.
Yeah.
So it's like he didn't bite you. You squeezed his mouth.
Yeah. If anything, I thought Rob Webber was going to get himself in a little bit of trouble there. I'm glad nothing was given. Craig Maxwell Keys said, yeah, nothing obvious. And then, of course, our favorite cowboy had a comment to the commentators for television saying, there's blood and it should have been a card. And I'm like, dude, did you see the replay? Because your player was kind of the jackass in this.
Yeah. So looking it up, Callum Green was cited for it. I'm trying to see what it was. No clear evidence. Okay, he's going to face a disciplinary panel tomorrow.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Yeah, I
disagree with that.
I don't.
But
think
at the same time, if there was a legit biting incident, then yes, by all means.
If he did in fact bite him, that needs to be said. There needs to be a reprimand. But
right.
On the replay that we saw,
it
didn't look like it looked like if anything it was Rob Webber's issue, not Green's. So hopefully somebody smart takes care of this without too much issue.
There's someone smart at the FRU.
Yeah, I know that's asking a lot. I know. But Newcastle win 22-17 and keep this thing a fight at the bottom. That's for sure. I'm popcorn ready.
Right.
Yeah. Exeter and Bath, and I didn't get to watch this one either. Looks like Exeter just handled it.
They did.
Okay.
It was. It was a little touch and go at the beginning, but and it was never in doubt. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So like we were talking about Wasps having a leg up on Gloucester, where they even had the lead. I don't remember if Bath had the lead at any point, but it was never in doubt
Probably
that Exeter
not more than
were winning
3-0.
that match.
Yeah. So it was a. It looks like they handled it pretty well. I think we both were hopeful that Bath would somehow help us, but we also knew the reality of that happening was probably low.
So I forgot because Nathan Catt scored a try fairly early.
Oh right, okay.
So that made me happy because I got him starting, but what was it? Exeter scored 2 tries in the next 15 minutes or so.
Oh shoot!
To take control. And
about that. It was nice while it lasted.
Yeah.
he's a fantasy asset that's not talked about right now because he's obviously been overlooked at this. But I have him on my team. Rory McConaughey. He scored 41 this week.
Damn.
Let me double check his numbers for the last couple of weeks, but I think he's scoring at a decent clip in the last few games. Okay, so since week 13, his scores are 12, 35, 28, 13, 41. So not a bad play.
No.
I mean, if you can somehow avoid those little duds of 13 and 12, you got yourself a nice play with 25-plus points every week so far.
I mean, that's a good player to at least have on your reserves because you still get those points. I know you're only getting half of them.
Yeah.
But that's still someone to consider at least having in your 23.
Yes.
Even if you don't start him every week. Definitely a good play.
Yeah, keep him in the pocket just in case.
Yep.
So Exeter take care of business 29-10, and they keep themselves on top of the Premiership and lock themselves down a semifinal spot. Not a home semifinal spot yet, but they are the first team to lock down a semifinal spot, so you can probably presume that they will do as such in somewhat short order here.
Yeah.
To the Down Under. Well, I was happy I picked the Blues. To be fair, I said Harry Plummer would get him going. I don't think Harry Plummer got him going that much, but it seemed like once they got it to Nanai, Fayani, and Rico Ioane, that's when
Nanai run. Holy shit! Way to go from like 0 to 60 and just blow through the defense.
Yeah. So he's they got this team going really. Highlanders kind of put it in the wrong, let the wrong Blues players get a hold of it too often.
Yeah.
And they got burned for it. Blues take care of business 33-26 at home, and finally might look like they're one of the Kiwi teams that aren't the laughingstock of the league, which is good.
That's good. Yeah.
I was actually somewhat impressed with Marty Banks. He started in kind of a pinch. They didn't want to start Gatlin. We talked about Gatlin possibly being the starter in this Highlanders team, and it seems like I was very, very wrong about that.
Yeah, he's struggling.
Yeah.
Like I remember watching him last year and being like, "Why this guy deserves at least a good look."
Yeah,
and
I don't know if the new environment or whatever. Yeah. Josh Ioane is definitely the number one fly half on this team. Marty Banks did well. He kicked well. He looked to be controlling. Josh Ioane's the attacker, though. He's the one that you want on the field when you need some go forward. But good on Marty Banks for being that old warhorse that just continues to produce when needed. Hurricane Stormers. Ooh, man, I was nervous with this one for a long time. For a long time, I thought for sure we weren't getting this one out of the fire. But Bowden Barrett comes up huge. As
always.
As an assist on a Jordy Barrett try, and then just for all reasons, I thought he screwed up. So he screwed I think it was the last try that ended up being the winner. For all reasons, I thought he screwed it up because there were two guys outside him, and he took it himself, and he had to fight through three guys, but he got there. I was like, oh, you would have been in so much trouble if you hadn't finished that. But it was well done.
You still probably get a fine for that.
Yeah.
Among the lads.
You're getting a fine. You're getting a fine at Kangaroo Court for sure. The Hoos, Wes Hookson, does a double again. He is on fire lately. I don't know how you're going to sit him, but you also have. I mean, Jordy Barrett played 12 in this match. It's
you just put people places. You put you find a spot for him. Like
it seems to me.
There's no reason not to if they're that and Jordy's talented as all hell. You can put him in.
You can put him on almost anywhere in the back line, and
he'll be fine.
He's enormous too.
Yeah,
like he's a lot. He's almost like he is a mix between Bowden and Scott. That's what he is. Right. He's a mix between the two of the other brothers. But the Stormers. This was classic. You had one team, big and burly, wanted set pieces galore, and they were doing it. They were controlling the game with it, and you could see their set pieces were dominating. Hurricanes were having a hard time dealing with both the scrum and the lineout. But the second that it gets opened up, the Hurricanes were the better team, and they were able to hold on in the end. I was losing my brain watching this match, thinking, "Oh shit, we're going to screw this up." No Dan Coles. Dan Coles was arrested for this match, so that made me a little nervous as well. No TJ. TJ made me a little nervous as well, but they got it done, and with a big match coming up this week, so Stormers get to stay in New Zealand at least and not have to have that jet lag bite them this time. But and they also didn't have Etzebeth. Etzebeth dropped out very late, concussion protocol.
Right.
So it was a little good on the Stormers for rocking up and really putting it in. They made this one a fight, so good on them for that. And Sunwolves and Lions. This was played in. We thought it was being played in Tokyo. It was played in Singapore. Decent stadium. Sounded like a good crowd. Certainly a pro Sunwolves crowd.
Sure.
So, but and the Sunwolves squandered chances. They really did. The Lions, if you look at the early on possession and the early on territory, this was the Sunwolves should have had the lead by a mile, and they just kept finding ways to screw it up.
Yeah,
they kept finding, and that unfortunately that's what bad teams do.
Right. It's not like it's a huge talent differential from like speed, strength, skill.
No,
it's just.
I mean, we talked about guys on this team: Emery, Parker, Vandehever. God, who's the other guy that was in the back? Jamie Booth, there's the little scrum half. They have loads of it. They had Ranger; he's obviously hurt. But, they have loads of talent there. They just got to find ways to frickin' put it together and put it over the line.
Yeah.
Get over that whitewash, boys. You'll be all right. But, yeah, Lions win 37-24. No Quagga Smith. Warren Whiteley still hurt. And they still somehow get it done. I'll give them that. Yanchis was okay. Tyrone Green continues to look not too terrible, that's for sure. He only scored 12 in this match for me, but it worked. It worked. Lionel Mapu, old. I say old warhorse. He's not that old, but again, he's certainly a seasoned veteran, and that's. I think we have to. I think this was a rumor last time we talked, but it sounds like the Sunwolves are getting the axe.
Yeah,
and that sucks.
Bullshit.
That sucks.
It does.
That sucks for rugby in general, and. So I've learned since, and I knew it was the South Africa teams that were calling for it. I've learned that it's all you thought maybe a part of the last World Cup and them losing to Japan. It also might have had something to do with the fact that Japan voted for France and not for South Africa in the coming World Cup in 2023, which is the most 5-year-old thing you can ever do.
Right.
I was like, really? Oh, You can't, Sanzar. You screwed this up. I'm sorry. You really did.
That's petty as fuck.
Yeah. Sanzar's completely screwed this up. If some wolves have a beef and want to take any sort of action against Sanzar and any of the teams in Sanzar, by all means, go for it. I bet you would have the support of the entire rugby universe. So go for it, guys. Good on you. You deserve some sort of justice here because this is wrong.
Yeah,
this is just wrong.
So yeah, I wonder how that's going to play out. Where Japan rugby will end up.
Yeah,
because it's tough.
They might end up in the same league as the Western Force.
Yeah,
but that's not. I feel bad for them.
Yeah, the travel for that, I can't imagine.
Oh boy, no, thank you. Pass. Warthog's Crusaders. Crusaders finally lose one. Whew.
Who saw that one coming?
Yeah, nobody.
Yeah. No, certainly neither of us.
No, neither of us did. I picked the Crusaders. No Richie Mwanga. Didn't help.
No.
That's for sure. But still, they Warthog's, they kept the territorial pressure on. That's what they did. They really kept the territory on the Crusaders. They were keeping it in their end. They were not letting them out. Crusaders, it was a bit of a slippery ball, to be fair. I think it was wet. A little bit of dew there. But they just kept the pressure on territorial-wise for the Crusaders, and the Crusaders just couldn't figure out how the hell to get away from their own line. Wow. And thusly, the Warthogs didn't score a ton of points. Oh,
didn't need to.
But the one try they scored, and you see his name at the top of our points list there. It's a reason.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he's always good for something awesome.
Shot to nothing.
Yeah.
From Foley, and three Crusaders guys kind of just like, I got it, and neither one of them end up getting it, and it falls behind Folau. He turns around, and he's in the try zone, falls right on top of it. He's like, hey, look what I got.
But,
But, he went up there to get it. He did go up there to get it and just cause enough trouble between those guys where none of them really collected it. And he just fell on it. He's like, hey, look what I got.
Hey.
So, I mean, Izzy Folau, you're a fantastic player. You are. I'm not a fan of you as a person, but you are a wonderful player.
Right.
You are a wonderful player.
He's just shut his mouth every so often, or at least shut his Twitter.
Turn his Twitter off. Yeah. It could be good. I do want to just, I talked about it before. I do want to hit on the Waratahs loose forward contingent. I think they're one of the more underrated of the bunch. Honestly, I mean, yes, everybody knows who Hooper is. It's not that's
Hooper drives the boat, Chief.
Right? Yeah, exactly. But Jack Dempsey, very good player, very solid player. He is a tough bugger. Hannigan is probably the one that probably needs to step up a little bit more. And they talked about, I think it was a few weeks ago. I think it was against the Reds. He's not as tough in contact as he needs to be. He's a big dude.
No, for a loose forward, you need to be.
He's a big monster dude. He
that.
should be able to crash through a lot of tackles, and he doesn't always do it. So it is a question of toughness for him. I like Michael Wells as well. It's an underrated loose forward contingent for them. I think if Hannigan turns himself into a true 6. That is between Hooper, Dempsey, and him.
Yeah,
that is a very formidable
solid back three.
That's a back three that I would sign up for all day if you said that was my starting back three. So give it to me. Just see if they can finally get that one little thing. It's a little thing. It's really not that big.
Yeah.
So I think it's something that could really help them go forward if they want to challenge for a playoff spot. Bulls Chiefs. Well, hello there, Chiefs. How are you? Nice to see you again. Yeah. Good Lord. Where you been all our life?
It's going to sound silly, but the key to this match, and for the record, again, Chiefs win 56-20. The key to this match was the Chiefs' defense.
Well,
now,
in a way, yes.
They possessed the ball. So when they stopped the Bulls, they made their tackles.
Right.
And they were patient on defense. Instead of what I've seen from them this season so far is, they've got the ball. Well, we kind of want the ball. So if they score, okay, no big deal. Then we get the ball back. And
so they actually played defense.
They actually played defense. They showed up. They made their tackles. They worked with each other. And then that gave them more possession, which then they were able to turn into points. Mm-hmm. So it's one of these, when they say everything starts with defense, this game, for giving up 20 points, it still started with defense because against some of these teams, you're gonna put one over, kind of in the loose, and eventually they're gonna get disorganized because they're or careless with the ball. But the Chiefs were just also someone you may have heard of, Damian McKenzie.
He's okay.
He's all right. Some of the things he was doing were just like he would run towards I saw one that just amazed me where he's almost surrounded. He's got his defender squared up on him. He's got one defender on the outside who's kind of hemmed him in on one side. He's got another defender on the inside who's hemmed him in, and he just steps back and just runs around all three of them.
He's got the speed. It's absurd.
And his teammates are all, with him in support. So it's like, okay, as soon as he gets around him, all of a sudden now you got the overload because he just did away with three defenders by himself. So you kind of have a little bit of open field there.
Yeah, it's like, oh no.
And of course Brody Retallick getting over twice.
He got twice, yeah.
He could have had. Now that we talked about selfish.
I saw that. Yeah.
Talk about Bowden being a little bit selfish going for that try himself. Retallick had some ankle biter on his foot. And all he had to do was lift his foot up and walk two more steps and fall over it, and he had a try. And instead, he just offloads it to his 9 coming on the inside.
Yeah, to Rangi get over.
Letting him get the try.
Well, he was being nice.
Yeah, but if there's any selfish play that you can kind of get away with, if you're one of the best locks in the world,
right?
Got a back again ankle bitering you at the 5-meter line, and you're going for your hat trick. Like that's okay.
I mean, as a second row, if I'm looking for a third one on the day, you're gonna have to really just
have to rip that ball out of my hands. It's not going to be
you have to cut it out of my hands. Never mind.
So good on Brody for being a true captain. That's what captains do.
It is, and he's a class act too. So
And
he's a goofy
Alamalo,
looking bugger, but he's a class
Alamalo
act.
had a big game. He had a brace also. He had the yellow card.
Stop giving away yellow cards.
Yeah, but if he stops doing that, he'll be a little bit better.
He'll be. I mean, still got a race, so not terrible.
Yeah.
Nankivell filled in for the last minute replacement of Leonard Brown, which made me poo myself a little bit. I said, "Oh no, there goes my best midfielder."
Yeah.
But Nankivell did really well as well. So, but yeah, Chiefs took care of business. I mean, can't say anything really bad about them. Roscoe Speckman got himself lit up again. He needs to learn how to freaking take a tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it was La, fresh legs prop, but still, like, if you're a fresh prop and you see that coming at you, you are ready to just smash. And he did. He did exactly as he should have. He lit him up. So
Maybe run at someone else next time.
yeah, maybe don't go. Maybe don't go at that guy, or don't go at him. Go around him.
Yeah.
So yeah, Chiefs take care of a business with a big first win of the season, 56-20. It's a big one to get Ben's boys off the schneid.
Yay.
And get them, hopefully going in the right direction in the New Zealand Conference. Now every team in the New Zealand Conference at least has a win now too. Yep. So I think that was the last one, honestly.
Yes.
Sharks Rebels. Quade Cooper was magic. The rest of the team, not so much. You feel for him. It was a rough day for him. Robert Dupria was pulling some strings pretty well. His kicking boot was going well, and it was a good game by the Sharks. Don't get me wrong. I feel like the Rebels let a lot of opportunities go, and with that back line, all the backs that they have, they've got some. Like I was gushing about it the other week, and there's a few names on this list, but there's still more. Billy Meeks, Tom English, Jack Maddox, Quade Cooper, obviously. Will Guinea didn't play in this match, but still, he's a big name. Corabetti, Haylett Petty. There's so much to love about this Rebels back line. If their forwards can just give them the ball a little bit, and it's over. It's over.
Just get a little bit of an edge forward.
Yeah.
Give us front football and
see ya. They did very well. So I'm impressed. Who's the other one? Reese Hodge. I just had another one in my head. Reese Hodge. They'll be ruining this one a little bit too. They had a lot of opportunities they let get away. 28-14. I have to say, it hit me the other day when I was watching this match. Last week when they were playing the Lions, the commentators on the Lions match were not being very nice to the Rebels. They were calling them dirty. I was like, ooh,
wow.
Them's fighting words, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I know South Africans and Aussies don't get along, but them's fighting words, bro. Like, you're supposed to be a professional TV guy and TV commentator, and you're getting fighting words.
They're a little, they get a little homerish sometimes.
Yeah, just a little bit. But, I mean, to be fair, your match there, the Chiefs Bulls, they were just kind of being like, yep, they are kicking our ass.
Yeah, pretty much. There's not much they could say.
There wasn't, much else to be said.
Right.
But yeah, so South Africa commentators, try and be a little nicer. You don't have to be middle of the road because we know you're South African, but be nicer. That and don't call for the acts of teams that don't deserve it.
Yeah, let's make this a global sport, not just focus on ourselves here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and then
as you'll notice, I'm being very nice to the South Africans right now, or trying to be, which generally.
I'm nice to a couple South Africans.
Oh, yes, on an individual basis, absolutely.
We have a couple South African friends that we're nice to.
We do, absolutely, yes.
And then last match of the weekend, I actually didn't get a chance to watch this. Reds Brumbies. We called the Reds might take care of business, and boy did they ever.
They did. They certainly did.
Looks like Karevi was tearing up trees. Bryce Haggerty playing at 10 right now is doing them a lot of good. Naivalu. It looks like Sorovi might be getting overtaken by Tate McDermott because he's done well the last couple of games. So I'm wondering if they're going to start leading towards him and not Sorovi. Not to say Sorovi's not good. I think Sorovi's got a little bit of that helter-skelter and free flow play in him, which is great. But when you need somebody that needs you need a little structure. It seems like Tate McDermott's given that to the Reds, and when you have a guy like Karevi and Haggerty out wide, you probably want to get them the balls. And Naivalu, you don't want to deny him the ball. So when you need to get the ball wide and get a little structure going and not be so free flowing and helter skelter, probably a good idea to pull that guy in. So it seems like he's kind of claimed that for himself. Brumbies are, I know they won the other week, but man, they are on the struggle. That was a struggle for them. And, obviously they struggled here. It looks like they're struggling to find points. And I'm not going to put it on Lealiafano, but there's something going on in that back line that they need to fix, clearly. Especially since I watched this match. I don't know. Maybe Lealiafano did have a terrible match. I can't imagine he did. He's a very quality player. But, yeah. I wonder what it is that's going awry there in the Brumbies. All right, let's do some pick 'em for Super Rugby, and then we'll go to Champions Cup.
All right.
Oh yes, the first one. Lead with your best foot forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hurricanes and Crusaders.
I'm letting you pick this one first.
Well, I mean,
because I feel like this is going to be our usual bets.
Yeah. We're at home. I have to back us at home because they've had a hard time beating us at home. So Hurricanes.
I'm going to go with the Crusaders because I could see them being
they're going to be probably a little pissy.
About what happened last week.
I can't say I blame you for that one. Warthus and Sunwolves at home for the Warthus. I don't know which ground they're particularly playing.
It doesn't really matter.
They're in Australia. I know that.
Right, it's in Australia. I'm going to go with the Taz.
Yeah, Sunwolves only ever having one win ever in Super Rugby away from Asia.
And where was that?
At your boys. So just the other week.
Oh wait, why did I ask that question?
Yeah, good job. Walked right into that one. Set it up yourself too. Blues Stormers. Blues they got it done last week. They got it done the week before. They had a bye in between there, but
as you said, the Stormers are have stayed in.
Yeah, they stayed put in New Zealand.
In New Zealand for this.
Yep.
So the travel isn't going to be as much of an issue. So in that kind of keeping that neutral, I'm going to go with the Stormers.
As much as I rang the bell for the Blues the last couple weeks, I think you're right. I think it's going to be the Stormers. And it's going to be. Here's the thing: if it's ugly, Stormers win. If it's pretty, they lose.
I agree. That's
kind of how it goes.
That's good knowledge right there.
Oh yes, here we go. Another tasty one this weekend: Reds and Rebels. I know who I want, but I'll let you pick.
So, the Rebels are they have a lot of travel there. They're coming from South Africa, flying over their home to New Zealand.
No,
that's
not really over their home.
No,
there's.
No, Queensland. I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong line.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, so they're kind of they're staying somewhat homish. I want to take the Rebels. So I will.
There you go. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Rebels too. I'm still gushing on Quade Cooper. I hope he ends up with a yellow jersey by the end of the year, going to the World Cup in Japan. But I'm loving what he's doing. He turns everything he touches turns to gold, just about. So I'll let it. I hope he rides that. Another fun one. Sharks Bulls. This is probably for potentially the best team in South Africa.
This is going to be a big one.
This will be a big one,
and that makes it really difficult for me. I am going to take. I've taken a lot of away teams, so I'm going to go with the home side here.
Yeah,
Sharks.
To the Shark Tank. I have one concern for the Bulls, and that was Dwayne Vermeulen leaving that last match. And they already are out Lou Diaga for a little bit. Arhis Neyman's not ready to go yet, so it's got me concerned. With that, I'm going to back the guy that plays 10 for my fantasy team at Robert Dupria and pick the Sharks. And to Buenos Aires, the Juarez against the Chiefs. Your boy's traveling over there from South Africa.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Chiefs.
Yeah.
The Jaguares.
You think Damian McKenzie at fullback's the magic touch?
Could it not be? I mean,
the last two games they haven't lost, at least with him there.
But just in general, having Alamalo back has been huge.
Yep.
Has really opened up their offense. And if they're playing like I said, if their defense is coming around, if they've obviously made it a point of emphasis in training. If they're playing defense like that, then and they're giving themselves a really good platform for attack. I mean, shit, all those guys that they've got in their back line.
Yeah, they've got some good weapons back there for sure.
So it's hard. It's really hard to pick against them unless they're depends on their squad. But if Leonard Brown's around, Alamalo, McKenzie,
I think those are late. Yeah, Marty and Damian. Yep.
So it's hard to pick against them on this one, especially with.
I was going to pick the Jaguars, but I think you just talked me into picking the Chiefs.
And his Creevy's on the shelf, right? Is he done?
I think he's done for at least this competition,
right?
Because he really wants to play in that last World Cup.
And I realize it's just just a hooker, but he is an
inspiration to that team.
Yeah, he's a captain. He's the guy that they're looking to. So that's a heart and soul guy, and losing him is losing more than one guy.
Yeah, it feels like it, right? Feels like losing half your team sometimes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put up my stop sign and my all my fantasy sits and starts tomorrow on Twitter. I'll have all the information, all the data to give me my predictions. But I will say, last week I was 3 out of 4 between my stoplights and my green and my stop signs and my green lights. So
I will also say
I'm better at my stop signs than I am at my green lights. To be fair, I'm not as good as the green lights as I am the stop signs.
Right. But honestly, I looked at those when I was setting my lineup for the Premiership.
Yeah.
Because I actually set my lineup for the Premiership, unlike the Super Rugby. But
winner, dollar.
Right. You're welcome. But yeah, like using that really helped me make specific decisions around certain players. So if you're not following, if you're really big on these competitions as far as fantasy, pay attention to what Jared's saying is with these stats that he won't steer you too far wrong.
It's not cut and dry, but it's also it gives, like Ben said, it gives you the guide to, all right, I have a start sit question. I have a guy that's playing one team that's giving up boatloads of points, and I have another guy that's playing a team that doesn't give up that many points. Maybe you want to sit the guy that's playing the team that's giving up a boatload of points. Right. So that's more to the point, not necessarily that, they're surefire winners. Like, God knows I friggin' missed on Joe Marchant the other week for a green light.
And I think Cat was on your red light list.
Yeah, again
this week, but he got me 34. So
but
that's the guy you.
I've also said some of these are matchup proofs,
right?
And obviously Nathan Cat has figured out how to get around most teams that can play well against props.
Yeah.
So that's how it goes. There are players that are absolutely matchup proof.
Yeah, but it is a warning, so you shouldn't expect, to quite their average game. Right. You probably expect a little bit lower, or in some guys you expect a little bit more. But it's still a good guide as far as making that last call as to, oh man, I really don't know.
This guy or this guy.
Right.
Yep, that type of stuff. That's that's the point of why I put it up. Again, as I said, I don't do well with green lights. Roscoe Speckman was my green light last week. He got 2.
Oh.
Yeah, not great. He got subbed off early too. I think he got banged up after that Lala hit.
Only so much you can do about that.
A little bit of pride probably involved in that. All right. It's Champions Cup time. Let's go quarterfinals. Here we go. So Ben and I obviously play the Champions Cup official game. The big thing that I've been paying attention to is daily. My competition lawn team is kind of garbage, so I've been rolling with the daily. I think I'm near the top of the list, one of the lists. I think the U.S.
I don't know that the league would, the yearly would be still active because
it is.
Oh, it is.
It is. It's going to be active.
Well, then that's good. That's good to know.
Yeah, it'll be active. They allow a boatload of changes right now.
Okay,
maybe even unlimited changes, or at least a boatload, if not 5 or 10, as opposed to 3.
Right.
Because of obviously you've lost guys that aren't. You have injuries, and you obviously have lost players that are no longer playing in the competition because they got knocked out. Stuff like that. I tried to set my team up so that I had mostly players that are playing this round. I think I have 2 that aren't.
Okay. I don't remember what I did.
So that's what I shot for with the last round. Anywho, let's get to the actual games. And if you want to challenge Ben or myself, follow us on Twitter in the daily game, and we'll put up the code to challenge, and you can just go ahead and give your best shot at it.
What do you got?
I think actually the last round though, you got me twice out of the 3 times.
I think so.
So that was actually well played to you. But for the most part, I think my daily lineups are usually pretty solid. All right, enough of that. All right, Edinburgh Munster. these are all mouth-watering games, with the exception of the Saracens Glasgow game. It's not that mouth-watering. But except
that
they just played.
Right.
So that's probably the most interesting thing about that. Anywho, digress. Edinburgh Munster. Edinburgh at BT Murray Field against the stalwarts that are Munster.
Right. I feel like this is that's a home match as a it's not quite indicative of the strength of the two squads. So for me, I'm picking the away team here. Munster. Only because I think on form and with their lineup, it's gonna be hard for any of these teams to win.
Yeah.
Except for the Saracens. But only because we'll get to that. But these are going to be some really tough matchups, and
these are going to be slobber knockers.
You're right, and I think you're going to have some Irish players who are going to be a little bit mad about the way Six Nations went.
Yeah,
kind of want to
might be Omani being one guy that I can think of off the top of my head.
And not that they owe any response to Scotland.
No.
But at the same time, there's going to be some, it's still, there's a measure of rivalry there.
Right.
That goes beyond just these two teams.
Well, and this is obviously all Pro 14 matchup as well. So
true.
They play each other. Edinburgh just beat Leinster last week. I don't know if that was with their B teams or their A teams.
Right.
So I'll give you a chance to catch up here. I'm going to take the Scots.
Okay.
Now, I do acknowledge that Munster are very, very, very experienced in this spot right here. This is a spot they've been 1,000 times. Edinburgh, not so much. But I'm going to give them the nod and give the underdogs. I think they'll turn this into a hell of an atmosphere at BT Murray Field. I think it's going to be a fun match to watch.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be a little bit of, I think again we're going to get to that in a second, but they're going to be they're the Scotland team that has a chance to keep moving on. So that's there's a little bit of pressure there, and if they can nut up, they have a good
we'll see what happens.
Opportunity to make it happen. I just am taking the Irish team.
Right. Let's see. So it sounds like for this next match, Stuart Hogg's going to be back.
That's big.
Yeah, and both Horn brothers will be ready to go, George and Peter. So Saracens in Glasgow, but I say that there will be Farrell, likely Morrow, George Cruz. Mm-hmm. We still have Billy Vunipola last I checked.
Right.
I hope we have an actual 7 that plays for the Saracens and not. Sorry, Skalkberger. You are a legend in your own right. You're not a good 7.
No,
not anymore. Okay, you're just not. You're experienced as hell, but man, you're annoying.
Is this one of those where you put Ray at 7 and then maybe move like Nicky Ezekwe?
I'd be okay with that.
Out to 6.
I'd be very okay with that.
I would definitely be okay with that too. And I'm going with Sarries. I'm just getting that out right in front because now I'm going to talk shit about the matchup here because all respect to Glasgow, neither of the matches were matches in the pool play, and I just feel like this is one there's they talk about it in football here, where it's tough to beat a team twice and it's really tough to beat a team 3 times. Whereas to me in rugby, if you beat a team twice, and especially the fact that the Sarries beat Glasgow twice in 2 different ways, it's just a way. You know what? It's like Sarries are saying we can do whatever the fuck we need to do to beat you. What are you going to do about it? And I just don't see Glasgow having that opportunity and being able to take advantage of anything. I don't see any opportunity for advantage, I should say.
Right.
For Glasgow to really make this their match, because they can make it whatever match they want to make it, and Sarries will be like, all right, we'll do that, and then we'll beat you. They have a lot
of the answers, yeah. Obviously, Liam Williams will continue in his place, and we still have Struddle and Maitland, and
Goody.
If need to call on, Good will be able to play
back in his normal spot.
I I like what they have. Obviously, we could also see the likes of Lewington if he comes good. Wigglesworth is probably the one.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. Sounds like Itoje's ready to rock. Again, Farrell's good to go. He'll have a week off. I love what they've got ready to rock and roll for the Men in Black.
Yeah.
The strength of the wolf is in the pack, and the strength of the wolf is going to probably be too much for Glasgow.
Depth.
Yeah, it's a terrifying thought for some people, obviously.
Right.
So I think Saracen will take it. Obviously, Ben does too. And let's go to the all-Irish match, Leinster and Ulster.
This should be fun.
This will be another. Oh man, talk about a ding-a-linger. Whoo-ee, this is going to be a good one. I think this is being played at the RDS, so it's going to be one of those cozy,
it's at Aviva
raucous.
Stadium.
Is it at Aviva?
Yep.
Oh, geez, this is gonna be loud.
Yeah, I was gonna say
this is gonna be
the
loud.
crowd might be in a little bit.
The volume's gonna go up just a bit more, and it's gonna be fun.
And it's the late match too.
What time will it be in Ireland?
So it's 1:45 here.
So it'll be like
7 o'clock there.
Yeah. It'll be pretty late.
Which that'll give them a little bit of time to lube up. And
the Irish know how to lube up any way they can.
They do. That's going to be, even the atmosphere alone is going to be amazing.
Yep, agreed.
I'm going to go with Leinster.
Yeah, I'm going with the Champions as well.
It'll be interesting to see what Ulster does as far as defending what's his butt? Sexton. Because again,
a couple of the Six
Nations
teams might have given him the keys to the locker here.
Right. And that's going to be, Leinster kind of plays that same way. So
yes, as he goes, often they do too.
Right. So if they just decide to play the way that those Six Nations teams played Ireland, Ulster have a shot.
Yep. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what they do.
It's going to be an intense match because obviously they're both Pro 14 teams. They're both Irish provinces. So
think we might see some handbags.
Just a few.
A little bit of effort.
Just a few. It'll be fun. And then, speaking of handbags, Racing Toulouse in Paris at that funny looking stadium that Racing has. I think this is going to be entertaining for the fact that it's on the turf, it's inside. It's going to be a track meet. There's no. I have a hard time getting around another word to describe it. It's going to be a track meet. Finn Russell pulling the strings at 10 for Racing. Teddy Thomas is ready to rock and roll for them, from what I understand.
Simon Zebo.
Yep. Zebo wheels.
Yeah, and he's going to be a little bit motivated because, again, he got to watch a lot of these guys playing in the Six Nations.
Yes, he did. So it will be a lot of fun. Obviously, Toulouse have the likes of Dupont and Ramos and Intimac, and it'll be that they have their own contingent of their own.
No shortage of talent.
Right. So to say that, they're just throw them out the window is just dumb.
Right.
But I think Racing are just going to have that little extra to get them over the line, especially with the little magician Ben Russell pulling the strings. That's me. And
just to bounce it out, I'm going to go with Toulouse.
Trying to play catch up, are you?
Yep.
Okay. Well, you didn't pick a bad one because this will be a coin flip, honestly.
Right.
I think.
I'm going to be rooting for Racing, but just for this, I'm taking just so I can catch up in the
trying to make some ground up here.
Right.
Yeah. Fair enough. Oh man. Do we miss anything?
No, there's no Premiership coming up this weekend.
Right. Champion. Listen, if there's no Premiership, at least there's Champions Cup, man.
Right.
That's the one thing that was really disappointing about the other weekend with no Premiership. I was like, there was Six Nations, which obviously was nice, but it's only three of those matches.
Right.
There's not the 6 that we're accustomed to for
Premiership.
Premiership.
We'll get 4 this time, but
that's listen. These are 4,
but these are
tasty matchups.
Right. It's
breakfast, lunch, and dinner, man.
Yeah,
brunch the next day.
That's exactly what it's going to be.
Oh man! All right, so if you have a question, you want to say that the show sucks, you want to say that the show's great, any of the above, fantasyrugbypodcast@gmail.com. Ooh, I did want to do one thing. All right, so I have 3 screw-ups that I've done recently, and I want to apologize and I want to correct them.
Just 3?
That I can think of.
Okay.
All right. Last week's editing issues, I'm really sorry. I did not mean to do that. I'm sorry. That's on me. I'm the one that edits it. And so when it sounds like crap, guess whose fault it is? Mine. So sorry about
Jared, by the way.
that. I said we talked about Joe Tafete and his try scoring record in international play equaling Keith Wood. Keith Wood wasn't English. He was Irish. I'm an idiot. I don't know why I said English. I knew he was Irish. I'm just a complete jackass. My apologies. And then it was Hunter that they had on the pod the other week. Not I said Thomas or Thompson.
Okay.
I did not do that nice lady justice. That is totally wrong of me, and I apologize to her and the entire women's team. I'm an idiot. That's my fault. Okay, so now that I got that out of the way, yes, Jared screws up. It's not a new thing.
See,
it's
the problem is you announced that you screwed up. Just
well, because there's one person that's going. That's all it takes is one.
It does.
Yes, I screwed up. My bad. Okay, you're not perfect either, jerk.
But you'll never hear me claim it.
Yeah.
Unless I need to.
Yeah. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to everybody else.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I know you're not perfect. That's not news. All right. So, yeah, email us, fantasyrugbypodcast@gmail.com. Look us up on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. Review us, download us, subscribe us. Tell your friends to download us. They don't have to listen. It's okay. We'll take the downloads.
And challenge us on the daily
fantasy.
fantasy.
Yes, challenge us on the daily fantasy.
For Champions Cup. And
like Ben said, if you want any little last minute advice, my Twitter feed, I'll put the stuff up that I did last week, including a green light and a stop sign for each league: Super Rugby, FRD, and Premiership Rugby Mag. Other than that, thank you so much, guys, for listening. We appreciate that you all continue to listen for whatever reason, and we'll talk to you guys all next week. Have a good weekend and enjoy the Champions Cup, especially. Have a good one.
Good rugby, everyone.